Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Alpha Obasins channel. If you didn't see the last video, I left you guys with an update as to how it was going migrating from VMware to Proxmox. It's been a journey. We did finally get it going. If you haven't seen the video, go see our last video. I talk about the process of trying to get my PowerEdge R730XD to boot into an NVMe drive through PCIe so that we can install Proxmox on an SSD or an M.2 drive, and you know, it was a big adventure. We finally got it squared away. We now have a fully functional Proxmox server, and boy, let me tell you what, it has been fun to learn. I've actually, come to learn that I really like Proxmox more than I actually liked VMware. And I've been using VMware for a long time. It started with Workstation, using it on my local host, and then when I got the server, I got into ESXi. I really loved it, actually. I was a big fanboy for the most part. But after coming to Proxmox, I can honestly say I think I'm more of a Linux fanboy than I am a VMware fanboy, because this is a Debian-based hypervisor, and it's been a lot of fun to work with. You can see here I've got multiple servers in my home lab at this time. This is just what I got set up yesterday. I got so much more to do, but it's a pretty good start, you know. I learned how to create pools and so forth so that I can assign virtual machines to certain categories. It just makes it so much easier to manage the systems, especially, you know, within the families involved. It makes it easier to manage permissions, grant certain virtual machines to certain individuals or certain groups of individuals, and so on and so forth. So it's been really fun to learn how to do all this stuff. As you can see, lots of servers. Going to jump into the next topic of discussion, Mattermost, man. Simultaneously, while I was learning all of this server stuff and getting Proxmox installed and all the VMs created and so on and so forth, my father-in-law was in the background doing a bunch of studying on self-hosted services that we might find useful. And when he showed me Mattermost, I fell in love. I have been looking and looking and looking and looking for a LAN-based chat system that I could use to chat with my family. You know, my wife's computer's upstairs, 2 floors up. My son's computer's on the other side of the house. You know, my father-in-law's on the other side of the house. I'm down here in my studio. Like, we're all over the place, and we needed a convenient way to not only hold conversations with one another, but also collaborate, because my father-in-law is starting to really get into the whole Linux and the systems administration and the dedicated servers and all of that stuff. He's getting into it now, and so the more he gets into it, the more we begin collaborating. So I was looking for a team-based chat system that allowed us to collaborate, that wasn't overbearing in its features. So this might kind of go off in a little bit of a rabbit trail, but I feel it's worth talking about. Most of you guys know that I was running a Nextcloud server as kind of my does-it-all package. By running Nextcloud, I was able to have my data storage. We had a chat system through the Talk application, or the Talk plugin. We had calendars, we had tasks, we had the whole suite of Nextcloud, and I really like it. Nextcloud is a cool application, but I was really struggling with trying to get consistent performance out of it. You know, sometimes I might be able to hold a video conversation through the Talk application with my wife when she's on break at work or something, but then the next day it won't even register the call. Like, I was just having so much trouble optimizing that server that I just kind of gave up on it. So when I discovered Mattermost, I fell in love because it's super simplistic, it's minimalistic, but despite being minimalist, it's incredibly powerful. Like, the features that it does offer are very, very good features. Like, I really hope that they don't go overboard and start adding like a ridiculous amount of options, because the fact that you have a really, really, really solid foundation for a chat system and communication, as you can see here, we've got categories on the side, you've got insights of your chat, you can follow threads that pop up in here, which is a really great feature. You can have multiple channels with multiple topics and assign different permissions. You can create multiple teams. Like, it's just incredibly powerful to be able to do this stuff in terms of just creating a local network chat system. And not to mention, when you get into boards, this is probably the most useful thing about Mattermost that I have personally fallen in love with. Is as OCD as I can be and as neat and organized as I like things to be, when it comes to time management, I am the worst. I might think to myself, oh, let's do this. And then I start studying and I learn how to do something, but then I get distracted and I go do something else. By using the Mattermost board system, I can create a project, and then I can create a goal, and I can break that goal into subordinate goals and tasks that will be required to achieve the overall goal. And it's just been fantastic. My productivity over the past week since discovering this self-hosted server option has like tripled. It's like up 300% just because I'm able to stay organized. If I forget what I'm doing or I forget what I'm supposed to be doing for the day, I just go to my Mattermost board, look at like what my priorities are ranked, you know, from low to high, and decide what it is I'm supposed to do. And the cool part is that you can actually organize it based on, you know, have you started it? Is it in progress? Is it completed? And if it is, you can archive it. Like, it's got a really good organizational system. I would love to do a tutorial on how to install, like quickly install a Mattermost server on your home lab environment if it's something you would like to do. It's incredibly easy through Proxmox. It's done through a template. It takes maybe 5 minutes, 10 tops, if you're just nonchalantly going about it. And you'll have a server up and running in no time. Now, that being said, I have found that the container lacks a lot of the features. Despite having being completely updated, I still get notifications that the server is, you know, has a version update or something like that. I still have issues with certain features seemingly not working, like the voice chat and stuff like that. And it's not Mattermost's issue. I don't know if it's the lack of inclusion of these features in the container, or if I just haven't learned enough about it yet to enable these features. But I digress. Despite what I am missing at this moment, this has been absolutely invaluable to productivity on the home network, collaborating with my father-in-law as he gets in on the project, and just generally talking to my family as needed. Next, we've got Gitea. I discovered Gitea. I'm not a programmer. I create light bash scripts and light Python scripts for the sake of automation, quality of life improvements, and so forth. But I don't really feel I have anything that's worth contributing to the rest of the world. So having my own self-hosted GitHub server through Gitea has been really, really nice to have, because I can just organize all my scripts, all of my utilities, my, you know, all of it, automation services, utilities, network services, all of the scripts that I have, I can just dump them into my Gitea server and have them readily available. I don't have to worry about losing them. I know where to go to find my most reliable scripts. And last but not least, of course, we got the Jellyfin server. I've already talked about that in previous videos. Basically, Jellyfin is your own streaming service based on your own personal media library. This is fantastic. Goodbye, Netflix. So that being said, that is the Proxmox server, and I'm really glad to have it up and running. But last and not least, I told you guys that I was studying AI. It's the big hot thing. Everyone's getting into it, and I know that I'm a day late and a dollar short, but here we are. I have been working on my own LLM. My adventure into learning about artificial intelligence and working with large language models started much like everybody else with ChatGTP. I started using it. I thought it was really cool. I was able to hold a conversation with the computer and learn all kinds of things. But when I realized that, oh my God, I could host my own private LLM on my local network without even needing the access to the internet, like, no way, it's too good to be true, right? But I discovered Ollama. And after discovering Ollama, I discovered OpenWebUI. So I go from discovering Ollama and being able to hold conversations with my computer inside of a terminal to discovering OpenWebUI, where it gives me a ChatGTP-like. It's basically a ChatGTP clone at this point, which is fantastic. And it's all local here on my system. And I've been working on this LLM model called Top Hat. It is my systems administrator, and that is entirely what this LLM is designed to do. It's been informed of my entire system specs for my host computer, as well as my home lab environment and other computers on my network. And so I can quite literally, because of the way that I have constructed this LLM, I can ask it any question and it automatically assumes that I am talking within the context of my home lab environment and my personal network. It knows all of my hardware specifications for all of the devices on my network. And therefore, I can ask it simple questions. Like I've created a few prompts for this video as to kind of display how I kind of evolved this LLM, because when I first started working with it, and for those that are curious, I'm currently using Mixtral as the the LLM, and then I'm modifying the model file in order to create the persona of the Top Hat systems administrator, my personalized system administrator. So I started by talking to Mixtral, and I'm like, how do I set up a static IP in X distro, And I just started asking it random questions, DevOps questions, systems admin questions, you name it, and just asking all kinds of questions. And as I grew in understanding as to how the LLM thinks, I started getting more intricate. Like I started asking it like, okay, how do I set a static IP in Arch Linux? Well, then it would just take what little information I had just given it and do its best to answer. And for the most part, it was like, I'd say at least 80% of the time, hell, 90% of the time, it was right. It was accurate. Now, the other 10% of the time, maybe it got the syntax wrong. Like if it would reference network manager and restarting a network manager service, then it would put it all in lowercase. Well, we all know that you can't restart network manager without having capital N and capital M in network manager. It just won't execute. So simple things like that. So I started learning, okay, well, it's really smart. Even if I'm vague, I wonder how smart it'll be if I'm a little more intricate. So then I started asking it, like, can you give me an elaborate explanation as to how to set a static IP using network manager or NetPlan or insert, utility here. And I would just give it fine-tuned to the point details. You don't have to be super excessive or descriptive about it, but as long as you include what you're wanting to know, like what your inquiry is within the context of what packages you're using, which utilities you're using, it'll literally spit out the information like that. Because one of the best things this OpenWebUI has to offer is not only do you have your chat history, you can set custom prompts and you can upload documents to OpenWebUI and basically fine-tune your LLM's knowledge base based on what you want. So this is my entire library, my entire DevOps library regarding everything from systems administration to Python programming. I went through and spent a good amount of time talking to LLMs, and I created 1,000 examples of programming in Python, C++, Java, Bash scripting, all of that stuff. 1,000 examples. That might actually be a book, but you get the idea. I actually created an example template. In fact, up here, you can tag all of your documents with certain things. So I'm pretty sure I had one in here if I could find it. These are not organized alphabetically, unfortunately. It'd be nice if we did have an organizational thing, but regardless, you could go to, there we are, 100 advanced Bash scripting examples. I could go into Python examples, and I've got advanced Python examples, basic Python examples, and I did it in 100 example increments. And I will do an elaborate explanation as to how I built my examples and created this systems administrator LLM. But I'm to the point where this AI is so accurate and so reliable that I have actually quit using ChatGPT entirely because this one is so competent. I don't need to be on the internet to use it, and it's catered to me. It's fine-tuned to me. And the best part is I'm not sharing my data with some corporation out there. So this has been an absolutely invaluable tool. It's been a lot of fun to learn how to do this. If you guys would like to know how to run your own LLM model, on your own home network, your own equipment, definitely let me know. I'd be glad to kick out a tutorial as soon as things kind of settle down. I've got family down from Idaho for the next week, but after that, hopefully I'll be able to sit down and give you guys a much more elaborate one-on-one breakdown as to how to use Proxmox, how to get VMs installed, how to create templates, pools, permissions, all of that stuff regarding Proxmox, as well as setting up servers like Mattermost and Gitea, and a few other things. So yeah, if you like this video, if you found it interesting or at the very least entertaining, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. I don't post on a schedule, but when I do, I try to make it worth your time, at the very least entertaining. And if you like the video, hit that like button, drop a comment below. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I answer every single comment. I really appreciate you guys stopping by, and we will catch you in the next video. Take care.